How do you spot your POTA or SOTA activation when you're off grid? This problem is 100% solved.
Okay folks, here's the deal.
I'm at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. This is gonna be a special one. We're way up this mountain.
This is the operating station here.
Kilo Echo Zero Victor India Mike Park to Park.
The traveler has come.
He was a huge, beastly, bulging man. Plates were from Kansas.
Hey folks, Mike here, the Travelin' Ham. You can spot yourself on your remote off-grid activation with no extra equipment. The only thing you're going to need are two things that you probably already have on you. One is your cell phone. Cell phone does not have to have service, though there is some prep work you'll need to do. Second, I hope you have your radio. That's all you need. You know, we're coming up on our 5-year nomadiversary traveling full-time RV in this family, and a lot of times we find ourselves in situations just like this one where we are what we call boondocking, dry camping, camping where there are no hookups. And in this spot in particular, we do actually have cell service, but there's a number of places where we do not. And certainly there's a lot of activations that I go on where I have no cell service. When I'm out in the western part of the country, I would venture to say that at least half of my activations have no cell service. A couple that come to mind, Canyonlands National Park is in the middle of nowhere, one of the most barren places in the country, no cell service. Bottom of the Grand Canyon, no cell service. You know, I've seen so many times on social media here lately, whether it be on a Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, people asking the question, how do I spot my POTA activation when I don't have cell service? I'm going to answer that question two ways. First, get practiced and skilled at getting your activation found. What I've found for me is simply to find another activator, snuggle up kind of close to them, about 3 kilohertz away, so I'm not interfering with any of their activities, and start making a lot of noise. Call, call, call. Don't call and wait a minute. Call, wait 5 seconds. Don't hear anybody? Call again. When people hear and they notice that you're ending your call and only waiting a little bit and then going right back into a new call, that next time around, they're going to jump right in. But you want to keep making noise. So if anybody is scrolling by, anybody's spinning the big knob and going by your frequency, they're going to hear your voice and stop and hear what's going on. The second answer, which is really the point of this video, is there is a 100% slam dunk tool to get your activation spotted. And not only is it 100% successful, at least in my experience, but there are layers upon layers of redundancy above that success. If it didn't work through the channels that I made, there are 14 or 15 other stations waiting to spot me if that one didn't go through. I've had this work at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I've had this work at Yellowstone National Park. And if you've been to Yellowstone, you know that that entire area is very barren. It is not a developed area at all. You got to drive 3 hours to get to a Walmart if you're at Yellowstone National Park. In both of those situations, I spotted myself using SOTAmāt. The only kind of catch with using SOTAmāt is the prep work. And I've seen people make comments where they say, well, how am I going to know what park I'm going to activate? Or, you know, more likely, am I going to know what frequency I'm going to be on? So here's the process you're going to go through to prepare, because this is not a problem. While you're still at home, where you have internet service, you're going to create an account on the SOTAmāt website, just like you do for POTA. On that account, you're going to list what states you're going to do POTA in, what states you're going to do SOTA in. So if I was living back home in Kansas full time, I would certainly put POTA in Kansas. I would probably also include maybe POTA and SOTA for Colorado if we went on vacations or any kind of road trips out there in the mountains, and I would want to activate a park or a summit. That's one part. The other thing you need to do is select a range of frequencies that you would use to activate. So I've gone in, I think I have 2 or 3 bands set up on my account. So I'll tell it like I have a selection for 20 meter SSB. And what you do is you tell it the bottom frequency that you would want to use. Okay, well on 20 meters, I put 14,225. At that point, I elected to make a step for every kilohertz above 14,225. So when I go to activate, I get a little scroll wheel at the bottom where I get to select my frequency, and it starts at the frequency I told it to, 14,225, and I can sit there and scroll through the wheel and it'll go 226, 227, 228. I can go all the way up to 347, 14,347. I don't need to be any more specific than that to set this up. What the SOTAmāt website is going to do with that information, it's going to take the states that you select, the programs that you select, whether it be POTA or SOTA. It's going to create a database listing all the parks. In this case, it would be in Kansas and Colorado and the summits in Colorado, and multiply that by all the potential frequencies that you listed that you might activate. Now, your database on your account can have up to 1 million combinations. So you can keep adding states and you can keep adding frequencies until they multiply out to 1 million possibilities. Now that you have this done online on the website on your account, you're going to download the app onto your phone, and you're going to take that database and you're going to download it onto your phone. Once you've done that, you're ready to go. You take your phone out into your field. I can't show you mine because it's filming. Here we go. This is my phone. So I take my phone out into the field. On the app, I will insert my state and my park, and I will select from that list of frequencies that I entered. And now I'm going to set my radio to an FT8 frequency. I use 20 meters just to improve my chances. Okay, you don't need WSJTX. You don't have to download any of that stuff. You don't have to be an FT8 user. It doesn't matter. You tune to the FT8 frequency. So I tune to 14,074. My phone now, when I hit go, its time is gonna be synced up with FT8. And when it gets to the beginning of a new 15-second interval, it's gonna start broadcasting the noise. At which point I hit my mic button and I hold it up to my phone. Now your app will have a little slider that'll set volume, and before you'll do all this, you'll want to set that volume to the right level so that when you have your mic here, it won't overdrive your radio. So you sit here and do this, and it's gonna transmit 4 times over the next 15 seconds on 4 different frequencies. So then what's gonna happen is SOTAmāt is gonna scrape that information, and it's gonna find your FT8 message. And it's going to say something like, well, Mike wants combination number 425,967. It's going to say, oh, that's Grand Canyon National Park, and he's on 14,324. And it spots you just like that. Guys, this system works so well. It works so well. The creator of the program deserves so much credit, and there's so much more that it can do beyond this. But this is the part that I think people need to know, because everyone's been asking this question about spotting yourself when you're off grid. And this is an absolute 100% slam dunk. Okay, from my remote operations that I mean, you'd be hard pressed to get anywhere else in the contiguous United States and be more remote. But I would say from the bottom of the Grand Canyon, I got something like 15, 16, 17 hits on my signal, and it only takes 1 to get spotted. So if that 1 didn't work, there's 14, 15, 16 more chances to get my operation spotted. And on an operation like that, when you're limited with how much battery you can carry, being able to spot yourself in a timely manner is critical. So you don't have to sit there and call for 20 and 30 minutes just waiting to hear if somebody's gonna hear you. That's a great way to fail on an activation like that. Time is your biggest enemy, and spotting yourself is your greatest weapon. Everyone knows how to do it when you're on grid. This is how you do it when you're off grid. You need nothing else. I don't care where you go. I'm Mike, Kilo Echo 0 Victor India Mike, the Travelin Ham, 7-3, POTA on.